Okay. Welcome. Thank you for coming to this press conference after the bilateral meeting of Foreign Minister of Georgia, Maka Bochorishvili, and the Foreign Minister of Austria, März. I would now would like to please, Mrs. Foreign Minister, for your remarks.
Thank you very much, dear Foreign Minister, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in Vienna. It was good, and I think it is always good to engage in frank and constructive dialogue. On a bilateral level, Georgia is an important partner, as I stressed, for us, as well as a significant development partner. Georgia is a focus country of our development cooperation, and we have good economic relations. Further deepening would be beneficial, I'm sure, for both of us. In the context of the continued Russian war of aggression against Ukraine, we both need to strengthen our resilience. We talked about that. Russia continues trying to destabilize our institutions and societies, and we need to combine our efforts to fight against this Russian attempts to spread also false narratives and disinformation. Russia must not get away with its blatant violation of international law. If the international order is based not on rules but on the idea that might is right, the consequences for states like Austria and Georgia will be vast. That is why Austria, and we also talked about that, fully supports the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Georgia, a key topic of our discussions were the occupied breakaway regions of Georgia also today. Between good partners, it is also possible to have frank and open discussions. And unfortunately, today we had many difficult topics also on the agenda. When it comes to Georgia's EU accession path, Georgia has shifted into reverse gear. This is, from an Austrian, also from a European perspective, regrettable. We see a backdrop of reforms in the areas of justice, rule of law and human rights. We even see backward steps such as legislation targeting civil society or irregularities during the parliamentary elections on October 24, as was identified by OSCE ODIHR. As a result, the EU accession process is currently at a halt. But I made it very clear to my Georgian colleague that we strongly condemn the violence against peaceful protesters and media representatives. The Georgian authorities must respect the right to freedom of assembly and of expression and refrain from using force. All acts of violence must be investigated and those responsible held accountable. In response to the violence, the EU has stopped the direct assistance to the Georgian authorities amounting to over 120 million euros. We have also put on hold 30 million euros support measures for 2024 planned via the European Peace Facility, and we do not plan any support for 25. However, the EU and Austria will continue the support for the Georgian people and civil society. And we call on those politically responsible to overcome the divisions and polarizations. I think there is no other alternative than to have an active dialogue, also with the civil society, and to keep up the dialogue also within with the European Union, but also bilaterally. And that's why I think it was really good that we had this talk today. But also within Georgia, the dialogue with the political opposition and the civil society is essential. As I said before, we regret that the Georgian government took the decision to suspend the EU accession process until 28. The further course of events depends entirely on the next steps taken by the Georgian government. I'm sure that the question how to follow the path towards the European Union is totally up to you to decide. And of course, this is a sovereign decision. But it is also clear that we would welcome your efforts or more engaging efforts towards this European path. I am opposed to completely closing the door. I think I made it clear with this meeting today. It is essential that we maintain open channels of communication. Vienna has long been a hub for dialogue and diplomacy, and both our meeting today and Georgian colleagues' visit to the OSCE in Vienna highlights this role. We stand ready to support the Georgian people's European aspirations and Georgia's path towards accession should the Georgian authorities reverse their present course of action. Also, a return to a pro-European direction would reflect, and we talked about that as well, the majority of the Georgian population with over 80% who support the EU membership. Dear Minister, dear Maka, once again, welcome to Vienna and good to have you here.
Thank you. And now please, Madam Foreign Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear Minister, dear Beate. Thank you for hosting me in Vienna, in this beautiful city. It's always good to be back here. My sincere congratulations for your appointment as the Foreign Minister, and I wish you all the success in your work. Indeed, we have a good opportunity to discuss bilateral relations between Austria and Georgia, which is very dear to us, very good, in a good shape, but of course there is always place to improvement and place to fostering this bilateral relationship. We have very good economic ties between two countries, and we are very much committed to work even harder to expand that cooperation between business societies, between economic players of two countries that are very important for fostering our bilateral relations. I'm happy to be here to have that possibility of political dialogue with you. We consider it very important to have this possibility to have discussions on different issues, and it was my pleasure to touch upon on very important topics that concerns to Georgia. We are very grateful for your support of Georgia's territorial integrity and sovereignty. That's the number one challenge that Georgia faces when it comes Russian occupation of Georgian two regions, Abkhazia and Tskhinvali region. And we are grateful to our partners for supporting Georgia's territorial integrity and for supporting Georgia's sovereignty. Indeed, sovereign choices and supporting sovereign choices of the countries is very important, and we appreciate a lot that support as well. That is also Georgia's sovereign choice to be part of the European Union, and that was behind the application of Georgian government when we applied in 2022 for EU membership. And we hope very much that soon we will have possibility to engage in an open dialogue on accession, which is essential for future EU enlargement and for Georgia's membership to the European Union. Without dialogue, that is very difficult to continue working together, and I do believe that Georgia belongs to the wider European family, and I do believe that Georgia is also part of European security. We have discussed regional issues as well during our meeting, and thank you for sharing your opinions on different issues. We need to find solutions. We need to find ways to have sustainable peace in our region, in wider European region, which is essential for future development, future cooperation, and better future for our citizens. That's very important. Here we are in Vienna, that is hosting many international organizations, and I will reiterate that that's very important that we all follow international law, international principles, and we do respect them while we are trying to find solutions to any problems or conflicts that exist around us. And again, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to have discussion, frank, open discussion, and I hope that we will have plenty of other opportunities to meet each other, support each other, and work together for better future for both countries and for our common European future. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for a couple of questions. There is a microphone. Mr. Müller-Schinwald, ORF.
Hello, Markus Müller-Schinwald from Austrian Public Broadcaster. I would have one question for each of the ministers. Gaman and welcome to Vienna. Could you please describe how you interact with the European institutions, taking into account that the European Union and the member states and the Parliament have not recognized your last elections, and regard Salome Zurabišvili as legitimate president and not the president that the government of your country recognizes as, well, sees as president. And for you, Georgia has always been a focal country, you mentioned it, for development aid. Will this proceed, one? And two, will Georgia still be regarded as a safe country when it comes to treatment of asylum seekers and deportations?
Thank you very much for your question. That's very important. When we talk about sovereign choices of the countries, we have to respect democratic sovereign choices of people as well. And elections that were held in Georgia, and we had more than 1,200 international observers observing that elections, including OSCE ODIHR that landed mission there. And without any evidences, we have seen lots of, protests against the results of the elections. One thing is very important. When you talk about people, when we talk about respecting sovereign choices, that is very important to respect the choices of any population, including Georgian population, that made their choice and in a free environment, and nobody can claim that they had no choice, they had no possibility. Every political party in Georgia had possibility to register. Every political party had possibility to run, and performance is performance, and people make their own choice, and everybody need to respect that. And of course we see some actors who are neglecting that decision of Georgian people, but again, it is very important for our future cooperation to respect basic rules for democratic society, and first of all, that rule is democratic choice of people, and that is very essential. On European Union side, that is very important to have frank and good cooperation with our partners. We consider European integration as the top priority for Georgia's foreign policy, and that remains so. And for that goal to be implemented, it is important to have dialogue with our partners. And I hope very much that this will be understood well in different capitals, including Brussels, and we will have possibilities to continue to engage with our European partners on different issues, which are very important for both of us, for European Union, for Georgia, and for our common future.
Regarding the development cooperation, yes, we will continue this development cooperation. We have done a lot in the past, and we will continue this year and in the future. Why? Because I think it's necessary to have this sort of support for the civil society, especially for the rural, like people in rural areas. And I think we are a strong partner there. We want to be a part of a peaceful and democratic future, but also prosperous future for Georgia. So I think that this is essential to continue this development cooperation. Regarding your question, the safe third country, or the sichere Drittstaat, yes, it wasn't the topic today. We are, of course, constantly assessing the situation together with the Minister of Interior, but only 0.7% of all applications had a positive decision taken. So that was 192 applications. But of course, we are always assessing the situation. But yes, so far, yes.
Thank you. Are there further questions? If not, thank you for coming, and hope you have a great rest of the day.